Okay guys, all 6 pots are now off the burners, and these are going to cool for about an hour and a half. I will have to stir them every once in a while. That just helps them cool more uniformly and quicker if I keep stirring them. So I just stir them down good. Some of them I've already done, and I'll just give them all a quick stir down so they're all about the same spot. And I'll set my timer for 15 minutes and I'll be back to stir again. And in the meantime, I will show you how I cut and line the molds, cut the freezer paper and line the molds. Bye. Okay, so the next step of the process is cutting the freezer paper. Actually, I use butcher paper now. It's just unwaxed. It does the same thing. I measure out to fit my molds. And since I've got 6 of these to do, we'll do this 6 times. And then I'm going to join you over at my work table. Okay, so this is how I wrap or line the mold. And I had a custom, I call this a liner stuffer, but it's basically just a little frame that was made to fit the inside of my wood molds. And all I'm going to do is my tape ready there and try to get it as close, as tight as you can. But I'm going to be honest with you, this is not something that I stress over. I know soap makers that just go into spasms if there's a wrinkle or a corner that's not crisp, or any one of a million things. I like rustic soap, so if the edges are a little curved and there's an air hole, if the stuff in it isn't complete, 100% incorporated, maybe one little blob is a little thicker, I'm good with that. I think it's just it just adds personality to the soap, gives it some character. So I'm just kind of wrapping this like a present around the bottom part of this stuffer, and then I'll lay my wood mold up on the table. I usually don't lay them on the table. I usually do all this on the floor, but just so you can kind of see how this goes in. Put the stuffs in, pull it out. Okay, so here's a typical soap mold with the liner in it, and I'm gonna do what I did up on the table, how I actually do it. So the yardstick is to make sure that it sticks the liner is all the way against the mold in the bottom, and so we fill that thing up all the way. And the bars on the bottom are basically square, which, if you're familiar with my soap, it kind of is. There's often these corners, there'll be one corner on some of the soap bars that are more curved. It's okay. I like it. It doesn't affect the use of the soap at all. So I'm going to finish the rest of these molds, and at some point here the timer is going to go off, and I'm going to keep going over and stirring the soap pots so those cool off, and I'm kind of keeping track of how long That's going to take generally an hour and a half. We'll see today. So come back with me. So we're back. Things have cooled down pretty good. I'm gonna start because by the time I'm finished with 6 of these, the temps will be under 140. That was just under 150, maybe 145 when I started. So each of the scents I'm doing are already combined and ready to go. This is the Spa Blend, Eucalyptus, Peppermint. Gosh, I haven't done this in so long, I can't remember. Eucalyptus, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. Jeez. So, and then what makes it black is the activated charcoal. So this one is it's a real pretty one. And basically I get out as much of this as I can out of our little bowl here. So here you see me, I'm just going to stir this all up and get it as incorporated as I can. This one is actually kind of pretty if you leave those swirls like that in it, but in this one that means that that particular area didn't get the scent as much. So I try to do this pretty good. Now guys, this is really hard, this stirring with as I've gotten older. This used to be nothing when I started at 35, but this is like really heavy, thick mashed potatoes, and yeah, I have to kind of change arms to do it. So from here, this is going to go into the mold, and then it will set a day. So I'm going to move over to the mold so you can see that happening. Okay, so here's our pot of the Spa Blend soap with activated charcoal. So I'm going to come over here, and I think you can see this okay if I turn it this way. So we're just putting this soap right in the mold. And oh my God, it smells so good, guys. If you love peppermints and eucalyptus, you will love this soap. So here, try to scrape down all the sides. And keep in mind too that this is soap, so unlike candles and stuff like that, the cleanup is so easy. You throw some hot water in this big stock pot, you come back in 10 minutes and basically just wipe it out. So there looks like there's a bunch left in there, but that's just that the activated charcoal is so fine. It gets all over everything. And again, hands are clean. I've washed my hands at least 10 times throughout the day. And now this is going to be kind of loud. I'm tamping the mold down to get rid of all the air bubbles and to get the soap down into the bottom of the mold. And that just flattens out the top of the mold a bit. And so there you have it. That is batch 1 of 6, and I've got to get going and finish the rest. Be back with you later. Okay guys, so that is a full day of soap making. It took just over 5 hours today. That was doing my 6 different scents and the small molds, 28 bars basically, a batch. And haven't been doing any of the large molds because I just don't need them right now. So those will stay tucked in for who knows how long. So that is basically when I'm doing it without having to do the filming things, it's a 4-hour work day to get all of that done. And basically right now under my work table here, I have 6 wood molds filled with the 6 soaps I made, and they'll stay in that mold for 24 hours before we unmold them and cut them. And we've already done a video on how we do that. So if you have any questions, I love answering questions about soap making. I've done this for over 20 years. I started in 1998. One question that I do answer quite a bit at shows, cold process soap versus hot process, and why do I do hot process? When I started, we lived in a 1,200 square foot house with no basement, no garage, just the closets we had in the house. And soap generally sits on a closet shelf and will cure when you're working out of the home. So I had to turn over the space that I had quickly. And if your soap has to cure for 6 weeks, if you make it cold process, that took up a lot of space. So I found by doing hot process, your cure time, basically when the soap comes out of the mold, it's ready to use. It's already, all the lye is already used up. The soap is mild, big bubbly lather, and really moisturizing. So it's ready to go then. The pH doesn't change very much from, right out of the mold to 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, a year after you've made it. So the hot process allowed me to turn soap more rapidly. And, after I started doing craft shows, and down in Florida, I was doing craft shows every week, that I needed that stock. If you are, and no, I didn't start out making a couple $1,000 at a show right away. But, even a show that is much smaller than that, you still need a couple 100 bars of soap to go to a show. And so that takes room. And especially if then you add a couple 100 bars of soap of 50 different scents, and you can see how exponentially it can grow and take over your life. And so that's kind of what happened. Anyway, this has been fun for me to do. I hope if you do have questions, put them in the comments down below. Those of you that are already customers, you know the drill. You can call me. You can call my house phone. You can call my cell phone, text me, email me, however you want to get in touch. Happy to answer any questions you might have. I just hope I can show you that my love of soap making results in just a really nice product that your whole family can use. Again, holler at me if you have questions. Bye.